See colder conditions by Saturday afternoon. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
And we have 44 degrees, according to Peter, the meter reader this morning. 44 degrees, warming up nicely to about 59 for a daytime high with a northeast wind, only about 6 miles per hour. Not as strong as it has been, but the precipitation comes back in tonight with some isolated showers. Maybe this afternoon we'll have some, and scattered showers again tomorrow. Clearing out tomorrow night and sunny on Sunday with highs around 53. And mostly sunny on Monday. For the next few days after we get through to showers tonight and possibly tomorrow, we'll have some beautiful weather here in this weekend of March 3rd month, 11th, 12th, and 13th. But due to the number of obituaries and death announcements this morning, I'm going to delay the reading of those until after we have the Bill O'Reilly morning update, because it runs over into that, so we'll hold those off until that point in time. But we'll get them all in for you this morning as Bill O'Reilly comes on in about 3 minutes from right now. Would like to update you on March 9th, approximately 10 o'clock, 10 o'clock p.m. Forest City Police Department responded to the area of 376 Dogwood Lane in reference to a shooting. Officers were notified that a 16-year-old male was currently in the hospital being treated for multiple gunshot wounds. Through the investigation, officers found that the shooting occurred in the roadway driveway of 376 Dogwood Lane. The juvenile was struck 3 times and was treated for non-life-threatening injuries. Witnesses stated that the suspect vehicle was possibly a gray or silver 4-door car. Forest City detectives are requesting assistance from the community with this incident. Names are not being released due to the age of the victim. If you have any information, please contact Detective Dylan Radford at 245-5555 or the Communications Center at 286-2911. And just after 2 o'clock yesterday morning, Spindale police responded to 164 Carver Street after receiving several reports of gunfire. Officers arrived at the residence and confirmed that the house had been hit with shotgun rounds. Officers canvassed the area and located a suspicious vehicle at the dead end of Young Street. Upon approach, the occupants of the vehicle attempted to flee on foot. One of the subjects was seen tossing a long-barrel shotgun to the ground while running. Officers were able to apprehend this subject and identified her as Jordan Elaine Wishon of Spruce Pine. The other subject reportedly entered a vacant house at 242 Young Street. Unknown if the subject was armed, officers surrounded the house and attempted to make contact with the individual, who has been identified as Matthew Dante Young of Spindale. Unable to make contact with Young, Spindale police requested the assistance of Rutherfordton Police Department negotiation team. Negotiators arrived and were able to speak with Young by phone. After negotiations stalled, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office Special Response Team and the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office Special Weapons and Tactics Squad responded to assist. Officers made entry into the vacant house, but Young was not located. Warrants have been issued for Matthew Dante Young for shooting into an occupied dwelling, discharging a firearm inside the city limits, and possession of a firearm by a felon. Wishon has been charged with aiding and abetting Young in these crimes. More updates on those as they become available to us here at WCAB. And those of you who are Tar Heel fans will be rejoicing this morning that they were moving on to the next level. They won last night over Virginia 63-43. Now they'll be playing again tonight, this time Virginia Tech. That's an 8 p.m. pregame, 8:30 countdown, and 9:30 tip-off will be that game. And if they win tonight, they'll play again tomorrow night. If they lose tonight, probably be out. Stay with us throughout the ACC tournament. As long as the Tar Heels are in the battle, we'll stay in the battle with them. We got lots of stuff to cover these next 2 hours, so hang with us as we continue broadcasting 100.9 FM, 590 AM WCAB.
Bill O'Reilly here, and I'm warming up from the NRIA.net studios in New York. Stand by for the O'Reilly Update Morning Edition. Investors, are you sitting on capital or wanting to diversify? The NRIA Real Estate Development Fund provides returns right now. They capitalize on strategic markets. They offer steady monthly payouts plus double-digit annualized returns. Start your due diligence at NRIA.net or call 800-800-1414. That's easy, 800-800-1414.
An offer of securities is only made by the NRIA Private Placement Memorandum. Read it first. Past performance does not guarantee future results. NRIA is a real estate development firm. Learn more at NRIA.net.
On this Friday, I am pondering the Disney Corporation reinforcing its woke credentials by publicly challenging Florida's proposed new law that would prohibit teachers from discussing gender issues in front of students kindergarten to third grade. The law seems to have some logic because children ages 5 to 9 cannot process fluidity and alternative lifestyles. Kids that age have trouble processing spaghetti. Nevertheless, Disney CEO Bob Chapek is concerned that the so-called Don't Say Gay legislation will, quote, unfairly target LGBTQ kids and families. So Chapek wants to meet with Governor DeSantis. The mogul also says Disney will donate $5 million to protect gay rights. Of course, Disney can well afford that charity because it charges so much money to go to its parks. Neither gay nor straight working families can visit, but there is no charge for virtue signaling. Sorry if that seems harsh, but the Disney Corporation and Mr. Chapek, in my opinion, could not care less about kids and their families. Many parents, perhaps most, do not want woke progressive teachers indoctrinating their children, just as they wouldn't want overly religious teachers forcing a theology on the kids. The Florida law, however, needs a companion legislation. Every school in this country should be required to hold anti-bullying classes. In this cyber age, we simply cannot allow any child to be bullied, and now we need legislation to make sure that doesn't happen. Now this. Did you know that cars today have more tech than the first spaceship? Something's guaranteed to break. That's why you need CarShield. When you need a repair, you can choose the mechanic, and CarShield gets the rest taken care of. Plans through CarShield even provide rental car options, roadside assistance, all at no extra cost. So get covered today and save 10%. Please go to carshield.com/bill or call 800-391-8888. A deductible may apply. That is the Morning O'Reilly Update. More analysis later on.
Now at 13 minutes after 7 o'clock, I have these death announcements. Calvin Allen Rickman passed away. There are no services planned at this time, but Crow's Mortuary and Crematory is assisting the family of Calvin Allen Rickman of Mill Spring, North Carolina. William Douglas Crump, 51, of Golden Valley, died Thursday, March 10th. Those arrangements are still incomplete and will be announced by Washburn and Dorsey Funeral and Cremation Service. Again, that's William Douglas Crump of Golden Valley. Horace Jones, 82, of Bostic, died Wednesday. Those arrangements still incomplete and will be announced by Washburn and Dorsey Funeral and Cremation Service for Horace Jones of Bostic. Janice Diane Cromer, age 76, of Forest City, passed away Saturday, March 5th at Accordios Health in Rutherfordton. No service is scheduled at this time, and Crow's Mortuary is assisting the family of Janice Diane Cromer. Ada Jane Davis, age 79, of Forest City, passed away Monday, March 7th at Hospice of the Carolina Foothills. A private graveside service will be conducted, and Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Services entrusted with those arrangements for Ada Jane Davis of Forest City. Frances Fran McPhail, age 70, of Forest City, passed away Tuesday at Hospice of the Carolina Foothills. No formal services conducted at this time, and Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Services serving the family of Frances Fran McPhail. Wayne Green, age 78, of Ellenboro, passed away Wednesday, March 9th at his residence. A graveside service will be conducted at 4 o'clock today at the Christian Fellowship Missionary Methodist Cemetery. The family will receive friends following the service at the graveside. Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Services entrusted with those arrangements for Wayne Green. Kelly Callahan Guffey, age 52, of Ellenboro, passed away Monday, March 7th at Rutherford Regional Medical Center. The funeral service will be conducted at 1 o'clock today at Victory Baptist Church in Ellenboro. Burial will follow in the church cemetery. Family will receive friends 1 hour prior to service time at the church. Harrelson Funeral and Cremation Services entrusted with those arrangements for Kelly Callahan Guffey. Jamie Lynn Butler Morrison, age 42, of Forest City, died Monday. The funeral service will be held at 3 o'clock today in the Pageant of King Chapel. Burial will follow in the Cool Springs Cemetery. The family will receive friends today from 1:30 until 2:45 at the mortuary prior to the service. The Pageant and King Mortuary and Crematory in charge of the arrangements for Jamie Lynn Butler Morrison. Vernie Barbara Blackwell Poole, age 81, of Mooresboro, passed away Monday, March 7th at her home. The family will receive friends from 1 until 2 today at Chase Baptist Church of Mooresboro. The funeral service will follow at 2 o'clock at Chase Baptist Church. Burial will follow at Eternal Hills Memorial Park in Party City. Eggers Funeral Home of Cliffside is serving the family of Vernie Barbara Blackwell Poole. Jesse Wayne Epley died March 7th. A celebration of Wayne's life will take place Saturday, March the 12th at 2 o'clock at the First Baptist Church, Rutherfordton, with reception to follow. Arrangements are being handled by Mcmahon's Funeral Home and Cremation Service for Jesse Wayne Epley. Carol Brackett Bumgardner, 87, of Golden Valley, died Tuesday. The funeral will be conducted at 2 o'clock Sunday, March 13th at First Broad Baptist Church. Burial will follow in the church cemetery. The family will receive friends at the residence at 3180 North Carolina Highway 226, Bostic, over the next few days. Please drop in before 8 p.m. Washburn and Dorsey Funeral and Cremation Services in charge of the arrangements for Carol Brackett Bumgardner. James Harold Smith, age 88, of Spindale, passed away Sunday, March 6th at Western North Carolina Baptist Home in Asheville. The family will receive friends from 1 until 2 Sunday, March the 13th at Spencer Baptist Church in the Family Life Center. The funeral service will be at Spencer Baptist Church at 2 o'clock Sunday, March 13th. The committal service will be at Eternal Hills Memorial Park at 1 o'clock on Monday, March 14th, with Masonic funeral rites, and all are welcome to attend. Mcmahon's Funeral Home and Cremation Services in charge of the arrangements for James Harold Smith of Spindale. Those are the death announcements we have in-house this morning. You can get the complete information on these and others as they become available to us this morning at 11:35 and then again at 5:10 this afternoon as part of the afternoon call-around report. It's 18 now past 7.
The four younger brothers had been creating havoc in and around Missouri for a number of years when the railroads hired the Pinkerton Detective Agency to get them. Because the youngers normally committed their crimes in pairs, the Pinkertons chased after them in similar groups. It was just a matter of time before the two groups met up, and that time was March 17, 1874. John and Jim Younger were having dinner at the Snuffer's home when two men rode up. The Youngers climbed into the attic while Mr. Snuffer answered the door. The men said they were cattle buyers looking for the home of a Mrs. Sims. When they rode off, they went in the wrong direction. John Younger was suspicious, so he and brother Jim followed the cattle buyers. A short distance from the Snuffer home, the Youngers caught up with the strangers. John Younger covered the two men with a double-barrel shotgun. Incidentally, these men were Lewis Lull and Ed Daniels, two Pinkerton agents. The two agents were disarmed, but when John was distracted, Lull pulled another pistol and shot John Younger in the neck. John responded with his shotgun. Agent Daniels attempted to ride away, but Jim Younger shot him dead. When the dust settled, Agent Daniels and John Younger were dead. Agent Lull had buckshot in his shoulder and arm. Although Lull was on the mend, a few days later he mysteriously died. His death may have been a ruse to make sure he didn't become a victim of the Youngers' vengeance. You've just heard another story from Old West Radio. I'm Dakota Livesay.
Jesse James Railroad Express has added 2 new sandwiches to their menu. Try the all-new crispy chicken sandwich with lettuce, tomato, and mayonnaise, or the crispy deluxe with lettuce, tomato, mayonnaise, bacon, and cheese. And now, the new beer-battered fish sandwich. All come with sides. Enjoy a refreshing milkshake or a hand-dipped ice cream cone. Open Monday through Saturday, 11 a.m. until 4 p.m. Closed Wednesday and Sunday. Jesse James Railroad Express, 531 Railroad Avenue in Rutherford. Call 828-447-4644. Mondays only, hot dog with mustard, chili, and onions for only $1.24 each. All aboard the Jesse James Railroad Express.
Congratulations to Jesse James Railroad Express, voted 2021 Best of Rutherford County hot dogs and hamburgers 5 years in a row.
All right, it's time to get started with our Call Around the County news report to find out what's been going on in the past 24 hours or so. And on the phone with me now is our friend Sergeant Brandel with the Sheriff's Department to give us an update. How you doing this morning?
Hey, I'm doing good. How about yourself?
I'm doing very well. Thanks for being with us this morning.
Yes, sir.
What's on the report?
Past 24 hours, the Sheriff's Office has answered 130 calls, processed 18 arrests, and currently have 176 in our jail. Under the arrest reports, we have a Jeffrey Leonard Brayboy, 45-year-old white male of Forest City, was charged with 1 count of failure to appear on a misdemeanor, given a $500 secure bond. We have a Wendy Potter Stafford, 43-year-old white female of Forest City, was charged with 1 count of felony conspiracy to commit a felony larceny and 2 counts of failure to appear on a misdemeanor, given a $5,000 secure bond. We have a Christopher Tyreek Laws, 23-year-old black male of Spindale, was charged with 1 count of communicating threats, given a $1,000 secure bond. We have a Priscilla Ledbetter, 39-year-old black male of Forest City, was charged with 1 count of failure to appear on a misdemeanor, given a $500 secure bond. We have a Tabitha Michelle Farley, 33-year-old white female of Kings Mountain, was charged with 4 counts of failure to appear on a misdemeanor, given a $4,000 secure bond. We have a Aaron Nicholas Langley, 30-year-old white male of Ellenborough, was charged with 2 counts of failure to appear on a misdemeanor, given a $1,500 secure bond. We have a Robert Nicholas Stallings, 26-year-old white male of Forest City, was charged with 1 count of simple possession, Schedule 6, and 1 count of possession of paraphernalia, given a $1,000 unsecured bond. We have a Anise Bumgarner, 40-year-old white female of Bostic, was charged with child support, given a $300 cash bond. We have a Jonathan Lee Robinson, 37-year-old white male of Ellenborough, was charged with 1 count of felony larceny after breaking and entering, and 1 count of breaking and entering into a place of religious worship. He was given a $10,000 secure bond. I believe that incident stems from a case where he broke in a church in Caroline. We have a Joseph Wayne Dalton, 42-year-old white male of Forest City, was charged with 4 counts of failure to appear on misdemeanor, given a $1,000 unsecured bond. Under our incident reports, we just have one for you this morning. We have a report of a breaking and entering and larceny on US 221A in Forest City. Looks like a victim returned home, found that the front door had been pried open. Looks like a flat screen TV and an Xbox was taken in that incident. And that's all we have this morning.
Sergeant Brundle, thank you very much. I know it's Spindale's jurisdiction, but is anything new on the Matthew Dante Young incident that he's being looked for at shooting at Spindale?
Yeah, so not to my knowledge. We have actually, my crew has been off for the past couple of days, so I've not been to the morning meeting yet, so I do not have any information on that as of right now.
Thank you very much. I appreciate you being with us, and you have a safe weekend.
Yes, sir. You take care.
Right. Sergeant Brandel on the phone with us right now, and last report I had, they were still looking for that individual, so if we get a report, we'll certainly pass it on to you. 7:25.
Farm Bureau Insurance doesn't hire celebrities to push auto coverage. We think people might like to make decisions based on service and savings, not just because that guy from that show says it's a good idea. Instead of faces you know from your TV, we offer faces you know from your neighborhood, because we're headquartered in North Carolina with local agents right in your town. That's really the only thing we want to be famous for. North Carolina Farm Bureau Insurance. Helping you is what we do best.
In Rutherford County, please call 287-2428.
North Carolina Farm Bureau Mutual Insurance Company, Farm Bureau Insurance of North Carolina, Inc., Southern Farm Bureau Life Insurance Company, Jackson, Mississippi, an independent licensee of the Blue Cross and Blue Shield Association.
Here is Amber now reporting from 911. Amber, good morning. How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Good, thank you. Tell us what's been going on.
In the past 24 hours, Rutherford County Sheriff's Office 911 Communications has processed 422 911 calls and administrative calls, which consisted of 32 calls for EMS. And for law enforcement, there were 130 calls for the Sheriff's Office, 48 for Forest City, 4 for Lake Lure, 37 for Rutherford, and 21 for Spindale. And then for fire calls, Ellenborough responded to a structure fire with Cliffside, Sandy Mush, and Forest City assisting. Forest City responded to a residential fire alarm. Sandy Mush responded to a motor vehicle accident, and Spindale responded to a fire alarm as well. And that is all we have.
Thanks so much. You have a good weekend.
You too. Thank you.
Bye.
Your car's best friend can be RS Speedy Lube Service Center. That's because RS Speedy Lube Service Center and Car Wash can keep your car or truck running clean with a regular oil change. They check the fluids and vacuum out the car and have you on your way in no time. Go next door for a radiator or transmission flush, brakes, exhaust, CV joints, and service for big trucks and campers also available. Pull next door to the RS Speedy Automatic Car Wash and make your car happy with a clean, all under and all over car wash. It's all at RS Service Center and Car Wash on Railroad Avenue in Rutherfordton.
And Ruby Taylor has the news for us from the SDO Fire District. That's Shiloh, Danieltown, Oakland community. Ruby, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing okay, Jim.
What's on the report?
Well, the fire department didn't have any calls, and on my birthday calendar for today, I got Noah Ezel, Connie Grant, and Nicholas Sisk is having birthdays today, and I hope they have a nice day. Tomorrow, Edna Fulton, Casey Woods, and Jeff Cochran having birthdays tomorrow, and Mr. and Miss Dean Haley having an anniversary tomorrow, and hope they have a nice day. Sunday, Jimmy Melton's having birthday, and hope he has a nice day. And the signs are in the breast today, tomorrow, and going to the heart on Sunday. And Jim, that's all I got.
Thanks, Ruby. Have a good weekend now.
You too.
Bye.
Bye.
28 minutes after 7 o'clock, our next phone call coming right up. You know, nothing strikes fear in the hearts of people more than receiving an IRS audit letter in the mail. Audits take much time away from your business and family, requiring you to gather mounds of records, and can become overwhelming unless you have someone you can depend on to take care of that for you. That's why we can recommend IE Accounting and Tax Service. Chris and his team of professionals are in the business to help. Even if you depended on someone else to prepare your taxes, IE Accounting and Tax Service will be glad to assist you or your company. Don't hesitate to call. As a small business owner, you have more important things to do than keep your own books. Why not let IE Accounting and Tax Service take care of that for you, so you can get back to the job of running your business? Consider their payroll solutions for your business, cash flow management, litigation support, and forensic investigation. Why not give them a call and see what they can do for your business? Here's that phone number, 828-395-1777. They're at 211 West Main Street, Spindale. Again, that's 395-1777, and it's spelled Aryee. Gary Wilson not available today. He's out of pocket today for some other responsibilities he has, but we're shifting right on over to Bostic and get DeVern Upton on the phone to give us the news from there. How you doing this morning, DeVern?
I'm doing good. How about you?
I'm doing good as well.
Are you ready for the weekend?
I am ready to roll my clock forward, spring forward and lose that hour of sleep, so I'm already sleepy.
We'll get prepared for it, and I think it's going to be cold this weekend, too.
It is indeed, yes.
Okay, the temperature over here is 49 degrees. The fire department had no calls. Washburn's Outreach will be giving out food again today from 9 to 12, and the thrift store will be open. March the 19th, don't forget the K5 Barefoot Run at Sunshine School. Stop by the Bee Supply Store and get you supplies, and she also has some beautiful shirts. and hope everyone has a wonderful day and a wonderful weekend.
You have a good one too, DeVern, and I'll see you next time.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
You know, I meet folks from time to time that from somewhere else that are visiting here, traveling through, maybe even deciding to live here or not. Met a nice couple yesterday, elderly couple from Ohio, and they were impressed with the friendliness of our community. And I see folks from time to time that tune in local radio. They like to know what's going on. And so they tune in over here. They find out that we cover the community with news and information, so they like what we're doing. And they're impressed with the fact that we do this call around because it gives them a chance to hear different things from different communities. And many of them are up north. They like our accents and like the way people talk. And so we have a fun time. But are you the guy on the radio in the mornings? And we like what you're doing over there. So we're picking up listeners from somewhere else that's moving here or visiting here. And they like this call-around report that we do because it puts them right in touch with hometown Rutherford County. So I want to say thank you to all of our reporters and all of our folks who come by for interviews and things that we do. We appreciate the fact that folks, even outside this area, fall in love with us once they hear us. Here now is Bob Hodge. He's over in the Hudlow Fire District with our Friday morning report. Bob, good morning.
Well, good Friday morning.
It's another weekend, Bob, and a lot of exciting things happening this week. We've rolled our clocks up. It's going to be cold weather and all those good things.
All that good stuff, huh?
Good,
We're going to have it all.
Good to be alive, isn't it?
Plus, run a clock up there. So we got a lot on the schedule this weekend there.
That's right.
Looks like. But we'll get through it. Look like next week get much better. So we'll get through it a couple of days there. And Jim, up here with the fire department, we've answered one medical call this morning. And want to say happy birthday to Trevor Maccabee. Birthdays for Saturday, Barbara Hodge and Jennifer Maccabee. And also Mount Vernon Community Club now is having their country ham and chicken pie supper at the Mount Vernon Clubhouse this coming Saturday evening. And that starts at 4 p.m. until. It'll be drive-through only. You go into Mount Vernon Church Road and drive around to the clubhouse and pick your order up. And, Jim, that's about it up here this morning. And I hope you have a good weekend. And you just wrap up and stay warm now tomorrow.
I'll have to find me an extra pair of socks to wear around this weekend so my feet won't get cold.
Oh, yeah, you do that. That'll help there.
When your feet get cold, you get cold all over.
Well, yeah, that's true there. And the older you get, the colder your feet get, too, things like that.
I believe our blood gets a little thinner, too, don't you?
Your blood gets thinner. That's right, especially if you take blood thinners.
Oh, boy.
And everything.
I've heard that, yeah. Well, listen, you and I, Virginia, have a good weekend and stay safe over there, and we'll look forward to talking to you again real soon.
Okay.
Thanks, Bob.
All right. Bye-bye.
Thinking about the departure of a loved one through death is a subject we don't like to talk about. However, pre-planning or prepaying for a funeral is a consideration and responsible thing to do. With so many options available today, it's important to speak with someone you can trust and someone who can help you find a balance between the emotional, spiritual, and financial needs of your loved ones. Crow's Mortuary and Crematory is recognized as one of the best family-run funeral homes. It's a family tradition, and they know how to care for your family. Any questions you might have, they will be happy to answer. Call Crow's Mortuary and Cremation Services at 286-2304.
All right, let's go over to Cherry Mountain Fire District. I know where that is. Beautiful section of Rutherford County. Let's see if Sue Price is up and at 'em this morning to talk to us. Good morning, Sue.
Good morning, Jim.
How you feeling?
Doing good. Hope you are.
Yes, indeed.
Well, good. Looks like it's going to be a pretty day out today. Well, let's see. I didn't have any calls from the fire department. I have no birthdays on my church calendar. On my personal calendar, I've got Carrie Price, so I hope she's going to have a good day today. First Broad's got a birthday for Scott Brackett. And Fairview has a birthday for Joy Van Dyke, so I hope all these will have a good birthday. I hope everybody's having a birthday or anniversary will have a real good day on their special day. And in my announcements, the Fairview Baptist Church will be having a spring revival. It starts on March the 20th at 11 a.m., the morning worship service, and 6:30 on the Sunday night. And then Monday through Wednesday, it starts at 7 p.m., and there'll be a meal each night at 5:45. And Reverend Sam Henderson is their visiting speaker, so come on out and enjoy a good revival meeting. And the candidate for sheriff, I can't pronounce his name, Ellenberg, will be at the Golden Valley Community Clubhouse Saturday, March the 12th, from 9 to 11 for a meet and greet time. And that's the only announcements I have. It's just quiet and calm over this way, looking for a good day and a good weekend. I hope you and the family have a good weekend.
Thanks very much, Sue. You and Richard have a good one, too, and stay happy and safe over there, and I will see you back here next time.
All right.
Thanks.
Bye-bye.
Bye. And remember, Tar Heels play again tonight. They won last night over Virginia, 63-43. They will play another Virginia team tonight, Virginia Tech, and that'll be that'll be 8 o'clock pregame, 8:30 countdown, and 9:30 tip-off tonight right here on your sports station, WCAB.
Hey, folks, Farmer's Friend Feed Seed Supply is an amazing store. I can say that because they have what you need. From pet supplies to fire and ant killer to horse-quality Timothy alfalfa hay, $14 per bale. Attention carp fishermen, they have C&J flavoring, only $8 per bottle. And they have oats for sale. Refill your propane tanks at the lowest price. Fully stocked with all your deer supplies and a great selection of farm implements. Need mulch? $12 per scoop. We could call it a superstore. Farmer's Friend Feed Seed Supply, 188 Whiteside Road in Rutherfordton.
And they got their gates open over here already this morning. Folks are already coming in to see them right across the road from WCAB. And if you go shopping over there and you can't stop to see us when you pull out the parking list, toot at us, toot your horn at us, and we'll know you're over there. And if we're at the front of the door, we'll wave at you real big. So toot at us as you go by our location, 191 Whiteside Road, Rutherfordton.
Cheryl, have you been to the Homeworks Design Center inside Henson Building Materials in Forest City?
Oh, yes! Shana, David, and William are incredible at designing kitchen and bath cabinetry for my new she shed.
Your what?
And they have a full line of windows and doors on display in their 5,000 square foot showroom. And they'll install any ones you pick out for me.
Oh, you're too good to me.
I know! With selling and installing, it's basically one-stop shopping.
Henson Building Materials, 177 Duke Street, Forest City.
Building starts here.
Shingle Hollow is where we're going next. Up near a lot of beautiful country up there. Piney Knob Baptist Church is up there, and a lot of good country people, and I love that place. And Tina White, you're up there all the time, aren't you?
A lot of the time I am.
Yeah.
I call it home.
You call Shingle Hollow home.
Yes. So it is 46 degrees here this morning. The skies are cloudy, but the birds are singing. It's so pretty to hear these birds this morning. The fire department was all quiet. They didn't have any calls the past 24 hours. Have birthdays for Miss Susan Brown and Joy Van Dyke. Hope these ladies have a wonderful birthday. And this is the last night of revival at Pilgrim Way Baptist Church. Spring revival is ending tonight at 7 p.m. So come on out for revival at Pilgrim Way Baptist Church on Hamilton Road. And that's all I have for today.
Were you born up in Shingle Hollow?
No, I was born at Shelby Hospital, but I was raised in Golden Valley.
Very Golden Valley girl.
Yes.
Well, those Valley girls, yeah.
You sound like Connie Mack Hamrick.
Well, that's beautiful country in Golden Valley. Well, a lot of good people up there.
It really is. I'm glad to call it my home and where I was raised. Yes.
Well, I hope you have a wonderful weekend and do some things you want to do, and I'll see you next time.
Okay. Have a very blessed weekend, and I will talk to you Monday,
See you now. Bye-bye. That's Tina White reporting out of Shingle Hollow Fire District. It's 7:40. We're going up to Union Mills to get the Kelly report in just a moment. Let me brag on Hutchins Pest Control a minute. Don't let the pest bug you when Hutchins Pest Control is as close as a phone call. Honest, dependable, professional, and on-time service may be the reason they keep getting voted best pest control. If you have a pest problem, call this family-run business at 287-5171. Licensed in North and South Carolina and fully insured and bonded. Get a free estimate when you call Hutchins Pest Control and be sure the job is done right. That's Hutchins Pest Control. Call them today at 287-5171 and they'll be right there. I know some of you listening to me this morning have health concerns, have health problems yourself, and you don't want to go to the doctor because you don't have insurance or any insurance to cover things. You don't like all that complication of all the paperwork. Well, let me introduce you to some folks that'll take care of that for you. Brock Family Care is a direct primary care practice that takes care of the patient and not the insurance company. So don't worry about not having insurance. They don't take insurance. They look after you anyway. Providing a flat rate pricing and not accepting any forms of health insurance allows for more personalized and affordable health care. Now, Ann Brock has over 42 years of healthcare experience and 22 years as a nurse practitioner. She has an outstanding staff with her over there. She and her staff are dedicated to providing healthcare that is patient-centered and not insurance company dictated. They give the patient the time and the attention they need. What are your medical needs? Take care of it. Bring them to Brock Family Care and see the difference. And offers telehealth appointments. Also, the professional staff are dedicated and will take time to find out how they can help you. It's a different concept of medical care that you'll appreciate once you get to know them. To learn more about it, why don't you find out more by going to the website at www.brockfamilycare.com or call 382-7282. No obligation. Just find out more about it. And you'll find out this is a better way to take care of your health. Brock Family Care. Now let's see if we can get up to Union Mills and talk with Brenda Kelly, who's anxious and waiting to tell us news. Brenda, good morning.
Good morning. How are you on this fabulous Friday morning?
I'm glad it's finally Friday, friend.
I hear you got a big weekend planned?
Not really. Just going to do whatever Faye tells me to do.
Oh, you got this is honey-do list weekend?
I never get caught up.
Oh, my goodness. Well, we hope everybody's having a good day. Let's say I've got 42 degrees on the front porch. I don't have any birthdays or anniversaries. And you was talking about Shingle Hollow being a pretty place. I don't think there's any really ugly places in our county.
I think you're right. I think we got some beautiful land geography here, and from Cliffside to Lake Lure to Shingle Hollow to Mooresboro and all the way. Well,
Lake Chimney Rock and all that is pretty.
Even Union Mills is nice.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, it is. Of course it is. It's got me in it. Of course, I'm just kidding. I'll tell you, I know you rush for time, but I got to tell you this. I had a doctor's appointment yesterday, just my regular, I go twice a year for checkup. I said, I am tired of being so fat. And she said, well, how long have you been like this? I said, all my life. She said, don't worry about it. You're fine. You don't have any health problems, so don't worry about it. I couldn't believe that a doctor told me not to worry about being overweight.
How about that?
So I said, I ought to hug your neck.
That was encouraging words, wasn't it?
Well, yeah, but I have fought my weight all my life, but it is what it is. I can't change it.
Well, as long as you still get in your clothes, that's the main thing.
Yeah, but they're getting tight.
My closet has a problem with mine, too. He keeps decreasing the size of my clothes in my closet every time I go in there.
I hear you. Well, let's see. I've got an announcement here. Friday, March 18th, Carly Airwood will be performing beginning at 7 p.m., and this will be at the Union Mills Learning Center. She will be performing some music from her new album. All music programs are free, no admission, but they do have tip jars available. And other than that, I don't have any news that I know of. I guess you better run down to Ellenboro right quick and check on Luther Sweet Thing.
Keep your eye on things for us at Union Mills, and I'll see you next time.
Catch you later.
Bye.
It can be a tough call when it comes time to provide a daycare service for an aging parent or a loved one. You can always depend on Rutherford Life Services for a safe facility that offers medical monitoring, nutritional meals, fun activities, and is a loving environment. Rutherford Life is licensed by the State of North Carolina Division of Aging. They will be glad to answer any questions you may have. Call them at 288-1697. Rutherford Life Services offers a trained staff of professionals who you can entrust your loved one to. Rutherford Life Services is located at 230 Fairground Road in Spindale.
To win in sports, you must adjust your strategy as the game changes. The same is true of investments. Why not let Andrew Tisdale, your Edward Jones financial advisor, help you create a game plan for financial success? Call 828-287-9197 and get started today. That's Andrew Tisdale at Edward Jones Financial Advisor, 828-287-9197. All right, it's 7:45, and that's Ellenboro time, USA. Let's go over there now and see what Luther Gilligan's up to. Luther, good morning. How are you doing?
Well, I'm doing great there. Just sitting here drinking coffee, waiting on the sun to come up.
Really? I hear people talking in the background. Who you with over there?
Well, I got Wayne Byers there, and Danny Green, and Linda Short, and a boy named Jackson.
Yeah?
I don't know what his last name is, but he's carrying on the conversation.
You're in good company then, huh?
He's about 6 years old.
Oh, yeah. I hear him back there.
Yeah, he's wide open.
I just want to make sure you're running around with a good crowd. Don't want to have to send bodyguards over at you.
Hang around with good people.
Yes, sir.
Maybe a rib off for me. But it's quiet there this morning. Nothing going on. Everybody's just getting their gas, trying to get this last day of the weekend, get that over with. But the city fire department had one call last night. Had a chimney fire about 6 o'clock. Appreciate the city Cliffside and Sandy Bush come down back up onto it. So it didn't matter a whole lot. Put the chimney fire out, and that was it. Nothing else going on down here. So you have a great day up there. Have a good weekend. We'll talk to you Monday.
Keep your eye on things for us, and I'll check with you next time.
Right, take care.
See you, Loser. That's Mr. Gilligan, Luther Gilligan there reporting out of Ellenboro. We've circled the county this morning, got all the news we could grab at one time, and we'll be back in a few minutes with birthdays and anniversaries, so you can call yours in to us now. It is the 11th day of March, March the 11th, March 1-1. And if you are celebrating today, having a birthday or an anniversary, we'd love to be able to celebrate with you. So call us at 287-3356. Birthdays, anniversaries coming up. Nobody gets a better deal than the customers at Sisk Family Ford. They have a proven record of the best deals. Sisk Family Ford, Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealer, has recently been recognized as the #1 Ford dealer in customer satisfaction in the Southeast. That speaks well of their commitment to serve their customers well. Look for all the new design 2021 F-150 at Rutherford County's only locally owned new car dealership. That's Sisk Family Ford, Oak Street, Forest City. Well, I'm looking at the breakfast menu over at Granny B's, and boy, do they have a good lineup of breakfast. If you're a breakfast eater, you love what they do. They got the liver mush and the bacon and the sausage and the pancakes, and they can do a stack of them or one or two of them. They'll fix it any way you want it, but you'll know that you've had a good breakfast when you walk out of Granny B's. Try breakfast this morning. Maybe take a load of biscuits to work with you. They'll help you prepare that for you as well. Always leave room for one of those delicious, mouth-watering daylight donuts from Granny B's. They're delicious. They're in Findale, Main Street, right next door to the Shake Shop.
Happy birthday.
We want to wish Tiffany Smith of Golden Valley happy birthday this morning. Also, folks having birthdays is Shemp Howard. He's part of the Stooges, Three Stooges, 1895. Yes, I forgot that. Died in 1955. In 1903, Lawrence Welk was born. He died in 1992. He did some wonderful, wonderful music. 1934, Sam Donaldson, White House correspondent, was born. Events on this day include 1779, U.S. Army Corps of Engineers established. 1891, first public basketball game. 1917, the first NHL championship game ever played. 1918, Albert Mitchell. Is that right? Albert Gitchell became the first documented case of the Spanish flu, starting a worldwide pandemic killing 50 to 100 million people. 1927, the first Golden Gloves tournament was held. This is also National Funeral Director and Mortician Recognition Day, so we'd like to say good morning to all of our funeral home directors. National Johnny Appleseed Day. National Oatmeal Nut Waffles Day. Now that sounds like a winner to me. National Worship of Tools Day. So now you're up to date on this date in history. I'd like to also wish Tiffany Smith, we're being kind to her. She's a STEM teacher at Rutherfordton Elementary School. I want to wish her a happy birthday. We're being kind to her, as a matter of fact, all day today. So Tiffany, we'll be talking about you all day. So have a great old day. Happy.
The Denver Post ran a story about Montana rancher Lexi Lawler's attempts to keep coyotes from killing her sheep. Nothing seemed to work. In spite of sprays, electric fences, and scare coyotes, she continued to lose sheep. She lost 52 in 1 year alone. Then someone suggested she try using llamas. That's right, llamas. Lawler said, "Llamas don't appear to be afraid of anything. When they see something, they put their head up and walk straight toward it. This is aggressive behavior as far as the coyote is concerned, and they won't have anything to do with that. Coyotes are opportunists, and llamas take that opportunity away. Our fears are often opportunists as well. They find ways to keep us from enjoying life. We fail to take the necessary risks in business for fear of failure or loss. Millions of dollars in sales are lost because someone feared in being told no. We need to walk straight toward our fears rather than being victims of them. Our fears, like coyotes, often flee when confronted. They are something like a mirage. They vanish as we get closer. Don't let your fears defeat you. Decide now to conquer that force that has been destroying your dreams and ambitions. God told Joshua, the successor to Moses, "Be strong and courageous. Do not be terrified. Do not be discouraged, for the Lord your God will be with you wherever you go." This is Bill Hostler with today's Key to Confident Living.
Good morning, everybody.
From ABC News, I'm Brian Clark. Russia has expanded its military strikes in Ukraine, hitting the western part of the country for the first time. People continue to flee the capital, Kyiv. ABC's Ian Panel just outside Kyiv has more.
Other cities around the country are experiencing even more harrowing conditions, especially in the port city of Mariupol, which has been under siege, almost under total blockade for over a week now. They have no electricity, they have no power, they have no heating, water and food supplies are low. There are reports of bodies on the street and mass graves being dug.
Vice President Kamala Harris touring Europe. Sounds as she arrived in Romania after visiting Poland. In Romania, she plans to meet with some of the estimated 2.5 million refugees who fled Ukraine. A day after the Senate approved $13.6 billion in aid to Ukraine as part of a $1.5 trillion funding package, President Biden today will move to revoke Russia's most favored nation trading status. That could open the country up to more sanctions. ABC's James Longman in Moscow says a growing list of companies are leaving Russia.
2 weeks into this crisis, over 330 multinational companies have paused operations here. The effects are already very visible. The biggest mall in St. Petersburg, stores have been shuttered there as sanctions bite. McDonald's is due to close its stores here Monday, and we've seen big lines at other Western outlets as people rush to make one last purchase.
Russian President Vladimir Putin said the Soviet Union lived successfully with sanctions. He also said there have been certain positive movements in talks with Ukraine. After a 99-day lockout,
I am genuinely thrilled to be able to say that Major League Baseball's back and we're going to play 162 games.
Baseball Commissioner Rob Manfred announcing a new labor deal. Players can report to spring training sites today. The season begins April 7th, and today marks 2 years since COVID-19 was declared a global pandemic. Since then, it's accounted for over 960,000 deaths in the U.S. You're listening to ABC News.
What's done more to improve overall health and wellness? Modern medicine or personal hygiene? Actually, it's both. But considering that bathing went mainstream in the 1800s and brushing your teeth in the 1900s, isn't it time for something new, like cleaning your nose? After all, your nose is the body's air filter for trapping dirt and germs, the first line of defense against allergens, bacteria, and viruses from getting into your lungs. But how do you clean your nose? With Novage. Novage isn't medicine, it's more like plumbing. Novage uses powered suction to pull saline in one nostril to the very back of the nose where germs can get trapped and multiply, and then out the other nostril, flushing out mucus and microbes so you can breathe better, sleep deeper, snore less, and stay healthier. Join over 2 million others and find out for yourself how refreshing and easy to use Novage is. At Novage.com, Walgreens, CVS, Rite Aid, Bed Bath, and Target. Novage. Clean nose, healthy life.
A judge in Texas is set to hear arguments this morning over the governor's order for investigations into the parents of some transgender children.
Directed Texas Child Protective Services to consider child abuse charges against families that provide drugs like puberty blockers or other gender-related care to their kids. The order has sparked fury among trans rights activists like Emmett Schelling.
We are done being kicked around by the leaders that are supposed to protect us.
The ACLU has filed suit on behalf of a state employee who has a trans child and says she was targeted for a CPS investigation. Jim Ryan, ABC News, Dallas.
The Census Bureau's admitted that in 2020 it undercounted members of Black and Latino communities and overcounted Asian and white Americans. ABC News political director Rick Klein says all sorts of federal funding and grants depend on the census.
If you don't have that accurate snapshot, if you know that there are problems in the data, then you also know that it's going to be an unjust formula to award certain grants to certain communities. And it's going to mean less money flowing to some of the very neighborhoods and states and cities that need it the most.
The head of the census says the information is accurate enough. Supply chain issues again hitting a major car maker. Toyota says it's going to have to scale back production in Japan because it doesn't have the parts it needs, especially computer chips. This is ABC News.
My sign is a potential customer's first impression, so it needs to be perfect.
It's possible at Staples.
There are 4 other bakeries within 5 blocks of here. My shop needs to stand out.
Also possible. With Staples print and marketing services, small businesses can print big with wide format signs and banners. Right now, get $10 off custom printed signs, banners, and posters when you spend $50 or more. Create your sign at Staples, the working and learning store. Ends 3/26. Visit staples.com/signage for details.
Brian Clark, ABC News.
Hello and happy Friday. Your afternoon forecast involves a partly to mostly cloudy sky. A warmer day ahead with highs today in the upper 50s and low to mid 60s. Showers build in from the south later this afternoon and also this evening. And then more showers and thunderstorms are in the forecast early Saturday morning. There's a chance for strong to severe thunderstorms across the coastal plains Saturday morning through midday. Damaging winds and a tornado are the main threats. Temperatures fall through the afternoon. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
Thank you very much, Zach Malak. It's 8:05, and our temperature reading right now, according to Peter, the meter reader, 45 degrees, and we're climbing up the ladder up to about 59 for today's high with just a light wind, maybe 6 miles per hour. Now, the rain's going to come back sometime later this evening, perhaps, and maybe some rain tomorrow and clearing out by tomorrow night. And then Sunday is beautiful, sunny skies with highs around 53 with wind gusting to 16 miles per hour. We got news from here and there coming up in just a moment.
I think we all agree drugs are a problem for Rutherford County. Hello, this is Theo, and I'm a candidate for sheriff. If you elect me as your next sheriff, I am committed to shutting down the drug houses. As a former state trooper and federal agent with 20-plus years of experience, I bring to the office of sheriff the training and determination to bring down the drug houses. I am committed to supporting the Second Amendment and following the Constitution. I'm asking for your vote in the Republican primary Tuesday, May 17th. Paid for by Steve Theodoropoulos, Republican for Sheriff.
You know, there is a lot of misleading information about Medicaid eligibility. The Arledge Law Firm would like for you to know the truth. For instance, if you need a nursing home, Medicaid will take your home. That's not true. Another one is, if you transfer assets, you have to wait 60 months to qualify. Again, not true. And this big one, if you're already in a nursing home, it's too late to protect your assets. Not true, not true, not true. Call attorneys Gerald N. Willis, Kent Baldwin, or Martin Gerard at the Arledge Law Firm and get free consultation and learn the truth. It's more likely than you think that you may qualify for nursing home care and not lose everything you own. It's worth a call to Arledge Law Firm at 287-3338, located on East Court Street in Rutherfordton. Now some news from here and there. Just after 2 o'clock yesterday morning, Spindale police responded to 164 Carver Street after receiving several reports of gunfire. Officers arrived at the residence and confirmed that the house had been hit with shotgun rounds. Officers canvassed the area and located a suspicious vehicle at the dead end of Young Street. Upon approach, the occupants of the vehicle attempted to flee on foot. One of the subjects was seen tossing a long-barreled shotgun to the ground while running. Officers were able to apprehend this subject and identify her as Jordan Elaine Wishon of Spruce Pine. The other subject reportedly entered a vacant house at 242 Young Street. Unknown if the subject was armed, officers surrounded the house and attempted to make contact with the individual who had been identified as Matthew Dante Young of Spindale. Unable to make contact with Young, Spindale police requested the assistance of Rutherfordton Police Department negotiating team. Negotiators arrived and were able to speak with Young by phone. After negotiations stalled, the Rutherford County Sheriff's Office Special Response Team and the Cleveland County Sheriff's Office Special Weapons and Tactics Squad responded to assist officers. And officers made entry to the vacant house, but Young was not there. Warrants have been issued for Matthew Dante Young for shooting into an occupied dwelling, discharging a firearm inside the city limits, and possession of a firearm by a felon. Wishon has been charged with aiding and abetting Young in this crime. Meanwhile, on March 9th at approximately 10 o'clock p.m., Forest City Police Department responded to the area of 376 Dogwood Lane in reference to a shooting. Officers were notified that a 16-year-old male was currently in the hospital being treated for multiple gunshot wounds. Through the investigation, officers found that the shooting occurred in the driveway of 376 Dogwood Lane. The juvenile was struck 3 times and was treated for non-life-threatening injuries. Witnesses stated that the suspect vehicle was possibly a gray or silver 4-door car. Forest City detectives are requesting assistance from the community with this incident, and names are not being released due to the age of the victim. If you have any information, please contact Detective Dylan Radford at 245-5555 or the Communications Center at 286-2911. Those 2 reports, this sound like Chicago. This shouldn't be happening in Rutherford County, but it is. So if you can help get these folks off the street, please do that. Well, calendars for the 2022-2023 school year was officially adopted by the Rutherford County Board of Education on Tuesday. You heard the chairman talk about that Wednesday morning with us. The adoptions came with a bit of controversy. For years, educators statewide have lamented the fact that state officials impose unfair rules regarding creation of the academic calendars that are not in the best interest of the students. Believed to be influenced by the travel and tourism industry, North Carolina law requires the school year to begin for students no earlier than the Monday closest to August 26th. But board members decided that a balanced calendar with 2 semesters that are mostly equal in length cannot be produced under those restrictions. Several factors played into the decision, including the fact that most agree that it is best academically for the first semester to end at the traditional Christmas break. This includes exams ending at this time as well, with students not having to return from the break and face exams after not having been in class for a couple of weeks. Rutherford County Schools administrators produced 2 sample calendars for the board's consideration following state guidelines. One has the first semester ending in January with exams taken after Christmas break. The other option had the first semester ending before Christmas break. However, this calendar option had significantly fewer days of class time in the first semester than the second semester. Most board members ultimately concluded that neither option was in the best interest of the students. The board had also asked administrators to create another calendar based on no restrictions on when the school year could begin, and this is the calendar that the board adopted for the traditional schools in the system, excluding Reach, of course, in Dunbar, Forest City Dunbar Elementary. Most of the board members were supportive, mainly because they believe it is better for the students, even if it is technically disregarding a state mandate. Other school systems at the state have moved in the same direction and adopted similar calendars that start earlier than the rules permit. 2 board members, however, voted against the calendar, Bradley Nanny and Brandon Gosey. Nanny was more forceful in her arguments and attempted to connect the school calendar action to board action on COVID mitigation measures, including mask mandates. Nanny seemed to be asking why the board wouldn't break the rules and defy COVID requirements from the state, but they're willing to do so now. Other board members pointed out to her that all of the action taken related to COVID was designed to keep students and staff safe and schools open as much as possible. Nanny said the board's action was teaching students to break the law. I ain't supporting it, she proclaimed. Board Vice Chair Rick Strickland made the motion to accept the alternate calendar, which was approved by the vote 5-2. Strickland said, "We recognize the tough position the schools have been in the past 2 years because of COVID. More balanced calendars are much better for our students. A more balanced calendar gives our students better opportunities to succeed." The action to approve the calendar with the earlier start date in August was generated by the board and was not a recommendation of the administration. According to the calendars adopted by the board for the 22-23 school year, the first day for students at Reach will be August 8th. This school generally follows the Isothermal Community College calendar. First day for students at Forest City Dunbar will be July 18th. This school follows a non-traditional year-round calendar. And as far as Rutherford County Schools, first day for students will be August 15th. The Distinguished Young Woman of Rutherford County program is returning once again in 2022. The program will be held Saturday, March 19th at 4 o'clock at RS Central High School Auditorium. The participants this year include Chase High School Junior Maria Teresa Barros and Bonnie Reed Jackson, as well as East Rutherford Junior Julia Brooke Lane. Kennedy Ruff, who is the current DYW representative for the Rutherford County, will be celebrated as well. Special entertainment will include Emma Long, who was named second runner-up at the program in September 2021, and Elisa Wilkie, who received a preliminary award for her talent presentation. Tickets will be $20 at the door. Well, as you know, those of you who have been out and about and drive automobiles, you recognize that gasoline at the pumps seem to go up about every day. Well, there's a Burnsville station that's dropped gasoline down to $2.25 a gallon in Burnsville. Yep. So it surprised a lot of travelers as they were going through it Thursday by dropping prices. Regular gas was selling at $2.25 a gallon at the Burnsville Citgo at the corner of US 19 East and Depot Street. The station's owners said they just wanted to help people even though they took a loss by cutting prices. And customers News 13 spoke to said they appreciated it. I think it's really great and kind of them to do that for people around here like us. It's really good of them Kaylee Vess of Green Mountain said. The cheap gas was available from just before noon to about 5 p.m. when it ran out. The station is experiencing another delivery Thursday night or Friday morning, and the owners plan to do another sale soon. Don't drive up to Burnsville. It costs more gas to drive up there to get that cheap gas than it would be if you didn't. So just hang loose. This too will pass. I don't know when, but it will pass. Well, a lot of news about Ukraine, and we keep an eye and ear on that as well as on New York. We, of course, had a couple of interviews with family members who are over there. Joel, who is there, moved his family down to Poland, and his dad was on with us yesterday. And we have other folks. You may have friends and family that's over there for whatever reason, but it's a thing to watch, and we certainly will continue to watch and pray about that situation. Ukraine has suffered $119 billion, that's with a B, $119 billion in losses because of the war. Russia's invasion of Ukraine has caused $119 billion in damages to Ukraine's economy. Their deputy economic minister declared yesterday, Denis Kudan, he said on Friday, he said 75% of enterprises in war-hit areas had stopped operating, and most metallurgical enterprises in eastern Ukraine were not working. He said this means we will have fewer exports of metal, adding that metals exports accounted for a significant share of Ukraine's overall exports. $119 billion in losses because of the war. And Putin continues. Sheriff's Report with Sergeant Brendel is coming up here in just a few moments, so stand by for that.
At Smith Drugs of Forest City, we are continuing to offer the COVID-19 rapid testing and the COVID-19 vaccinations. Please call our pharmacy at 828-245-4591 with any questions or concerns that you may have. You may also visit our website at smithsdrugsfc.com and schedule your COVID rapid 19 test or your vaccination. Again, if you have any questions, please call our pharmacy at 828-245-4591.
It's that time again, time to get the flu vaccines. And Smith's Drugs in Forest City has the flu vaccinations available. Walk-ins Monday through Friday and Saturdays by appointment. And Smith's Drug is asking all their Dream Station and System 1 CPAP customers to call if you need any help with registering your recalled devices. Just call the Home Medical Department for any help or with questions at 828-245-4591. And Smith's Drugs has the Moderna and Pfizer initial shots and the boosters. They also have the flu vaccines at Smith's Drugs of Forest City.
This is Dwayne Hunt with Insurance Service Associates. We know that due to COVID, many people don't want to come in the office. If you need to discuss your insurance needs or just make a payment, you can come through the drive-thru, telephone us, or drop in. We want to see you, but it doesn't have to be across from a desk. Insurance Service Associates, now located at 245 East Main Street in Forest City.
Well, I'm looking at the menu from Scrappy's Food and Fuel down to 221 in Chase High Road, just below Floyd's Creek Baptist Church. I'm looking at the menu, and boy, is it impressive. Listen, I won't take a whole lot of time, but for lunch, you can get a sandwich or a wrap, turkey and cheese topped with lettuce and tomatoes, only $5.99. Ham and cheese, bologna and cheese, chicken salad, $5.99. Grilled cheese with tomato, $3.99. 2 hot dogs with chili and slaw, $5.99. These hot dogs, by the way, are good. And these hamburgers, these classic burgers, they are thick. All the meat's local. They make their own chilies, homemade chili. Lunch baskets include fries and fountain drink. They have salads of garden salad, chef salads. They have kids' items. Why don't you give Scrappy's Food and Fuel a try? If you're still looking for breakfast, they got a great breakfast. And if you're doing things out and about this weekend, let's drive on down to Scrappy's Food and Fuel. I heard Jim talking about them, and made my mouth water. The food sounds so good. So go on down and tell them you heard about them here on the radio, and that'll make them smile real big. And enjoy anything off the menu. Take some home with you. You'll appreciate the good food. I guarantee it. Guarantee it. All right, Sheriff's Report with Sergeant Brandel coming up here in just a few moments. Let me share a little something here just real quickly. According to a new poll reveals one thing that most Democrats will do if the U.S. is invaded. If the U.S. is invaded, according to this poll, if the United States were to be invaded as Ukraine was by Russia just 2 weeks ago, 55% of Americans would stay and fight. 55% would stay and fight. But those mostly would be Republicans and independents, because a majority of the Democrats responding to a new poll said they'll cut and run. Quinnipiac poll asked Americans if they were in the same position as Ukrainians now are. 55% responded with confirmation they'd stay and fight. 38% said they'd run. But among Republicans, the fighters total 68% of those responding, while those who would run were only 25%. For independents, 57% said they'd stay to fight, and 36% said they'd run. But a full 52% of Democrats, the majority, said they would run. They would not fight. Male respondents by 75% to 19% margin said they'd fight, as would white, 57 to 35%, Hispanic, 61 to 33. Blacks would run by 59% to 38% margin. The poll also showed respondents by 50% to 31% margin said it was fair to compare Vladimir Putin's invasion of Ukraine and massacre of civilians to Adolf Hitler's actions against Austria and Czechoslovakia before the outbreak of World War II. Just an interesting side note there as to where would you stand? How would you feel if you were being invaded by a despot like Putin in Russia? Would you cut bait and run, or would you do like some of the many brave folks over in Ukraine are doing, standing and staying and fighting for the survival? Interesting conversation to discuss around coffee this weekend. All right, now here is Sergeant Brandel. He had the sheriff's report for us earlier this morning. We recorded it for broadcast at this time. Sergeant Brandel?
Past 24 hours, the sheriff's office has answered 130 calls, processed 18 arrests, and currently have 176 in our jail. Under the arrest reports, we have a Jeffrey Leonard Brayboy, 45-year-old white male of Forest City, was charged with one count of failure to appear on a misdemeanor, given a $500 secure bond. We have a Wendy Potter Stafford, 43-year-old white female of Forest City, was charged with one count of felony conspiracy to commit a felony larceny and 2 counts of failure to appear on a misdemeanor, given a $5,000 secure bond. We have a Christopher Tyreek Laws, 23-year-old black male of Spindale, was charged with one count of communicating threats, given a $1,000 secure bond. We have a Priscilla Ledbetter, 39-year-old black male of Forest City, was charged with one count of failure to appear on a misdemeanor, given a $500 secure bond. We have a Tabitha Michelle Farley, 33-year-old white female of Kings Mountain, was charged with 4 counts of failure to appear on a misdemeanor, given a $4,000 secure bond. We have a Aaron Nicholas Langley, 30-year-old white male of Ellenboro, was charged with 2 counts of failure to appear on a misdemeanor, given a $1,500 secure bond. We have a Robert Nicholas Stallings, 26-year-old white male of Forest City, was charged with one count of simple possession, Schedule 6, and one count of possession of paraphernalia, given a $1,000 unsecured bond. We have a Anise Bumgarner, 40-year-old white female of Boston, was charged with child support, given a $300 cash bond. We have a Jonathan Lee Robinson, 37-year-old white male of Ellenboro, was charged with one count of felony larceny after breaking and entering, and one count of breaking and entering into a place of religious worship. He was given a $10,000 secure bond. I believe that incident stems from a case where apparently he broke in a church in Caroline. We have a Joseph Wayne Dalton, 42-year-old white male of Forest City, was charged with 4 counts of failure to appear on misdemeanor, given a $1,000 unsecured bond. Under our incident reports, we just have one for you this morning. We have a report of a breaking and entering and larceny on US 221A in Forest City. Looks like a victim returned home, found that the front door had been pried open. Looks like a flat screen TV and an Xbox was taken in that incident. And that's all we have this morning.
43 win over Virginia Tech in the nightcap of the quarterfinal round on Thursday. Heels head coach Hubert Davis, after the game, talked about holding the Cavs to their lowest point total all season.
Well, I just felt like every shot that they took, we were in a position to contest it. You know, we talk about this a lot. For us to have success out there on the floor, that if we can play defense, if we can rebound the basketball, and also limit our turnovers, it really puts us in a good position out there on the floor, and it takes care of the offense. And because we were so good defensively, I don't think we were really good offensively outside of Brady. It allowed us to be really good out there on the floor.
The third-seeded Tar Heels will face number 7 seed Virginia Tech today. The Hokies upset number 2 seed Notre Dame 87-80 in yesterday's quarterfinal matchup. Top-seeded Duke will go against Miami today in the other semifinal. After narrowly escaping 9-seeded Syracuse 88-79, Miami advanced by edging Boston College 71-69. Major League Baseball players have voted to accept management's latest offer for a new labor deal, paving the way to end a 99-day lockout and salvage a 162-game regular season that will begin April 7th. The deal raises the luxury tax and minimum salary while also creating a $50 million bonus pool established for players not yet eligible for arbitration. Also coming to baseball is a universal designated hitter and expansion in the playoffs from 10 to 12 teams. On the ice, Ethan Bear scored the game's first goal with 5:40 left, and Sebastian Aho added an empty netter to help the Carolina Hurricanes beat the Colorado Avalanche 2-1 last night at PNC Arena. And the goal late in the third period also was the breakthrough moment in the matchup of the league's top 2 teams, as they had come up empty in a combined 68 shots up to that point. This is NCN Sports.
If the power goes out for your business, are you prepared with a backup? Without electricity, security systems go down, refrigerated items spoil, and customers are turned away. In other words, your business loses money. Control your power. Control your business with a Generac automatic standby generator. Alternative Power is North Carolina's Generac generator experts. In fact, all Alternative Power does is provide backup power. Financing options are available. See more at alternativepower.com. See more at alternativepower.com.
I got my COVID-19 vaccine because I want to work towards a more normal world in the classroom and for sports and my grandparents. I wanted to have better protection for myself and my family, especially I have people in my family that are high risk.
I felt like it was a good way for me to protect myself and protect somebody else.
I got vaccinated because I love my family. I love my friends.
You have a spot.
Take your shot. You have a spot.
Take your shot.
Visit myspot.nc.gov to schedule your child's COVID-19 vaccine today.
Novak Djokovic is heading to Monte Carlo.
The tennis star is competing for the first time in months at the ATP Masters event after organizers changed vaccination requirements. Djokovic is still unvaccinated and has been sidelined from other big tournaments, including Indian Wells. But just last month, he told the BBC he'd rather risk his career than get the jab. Djokovic may have to skip Wimbledon, but could still defend his French Open title since France is easing restrictions later this month. Monica Ricks, CBS News.
Tommy Fleetwood carrying the number of the beast. He opened with a 6 under 66 to share the clubhouse lead with Tommy Hogue in first round play of the Players' Championship. And 66 was the number of the day, as that was the amount of players who finished the opening round, with 12 unable to hit their first tee shot because of poor weather. Josh Zach, NCN Sports.
Hello and happy Friday. Your afternoon forecast involves a partly to mostly cloudy sky. A warmer day ahead with highs today in the upper 50s and low to mid 60s. Showers build in from the south later this afternoon and also this evening. And then more showers and thunderstorms are in the forecast early Saturday morning. There's a chance for strong to severe thunderstorms across the coastal plain Saturday morning through midday. Damaging winds and a tornado are the main threats. Temperatures fall through the afternoon. I'm meteorologist Zach Malak in the Weather Center.
We have cloudy, overcast skies here in Rutherfordton, and 46 degrees on this Friday morning. And today we're being kind to Tiffany Smith of Golden Valley. Tiffany's having a birthday. She's a STEM teacher at Rutherford Elementary School. So congratulations to Tiffany Smith for celebrating another one. It's 8:30. This is WCAB Rutherfordton, serving the foothills of the Carolinas. It's time now for the Word of Faith Fellowship radio program. And with the program this morning is Chris and Ann Doty.
Good morning. Thank you for joining us this morning.
My name is Christopher Doty, and this is my wife, Ann. We're so thankful to be here with you this morning, and we've got some scriptures and some things on our hearts that we would like to share with you about what God has taught us in living in these perilous times. During these times, as we've seen, there are many things going on out in the world that can distract us and keep us with our hearts turned away from God, or we can set our minds and our hearts to God. And so we're hoping this morning that we've got some good scriptures to encourage you and share with you how God's helped us. And so we'll go ahead and get started. Ann, if you want to start.
Yes. In Matthew 24:6, God tells us, "And you will hear of wars and rumors of wars. See that you are not frightened or troubled, for this must take place, but the end is not yet." So as Chris said, right now there's so many perilous times, so many things happening all over the world. We're seeing that just now, the wars, the rumors of wars. There's political unrest everywhere, economics, finances, there's so much uncertainty. There's natural disasters, floods, earthquakes, fires, droughts, sickness, disease, and even in our own personal lives, individually, your life. We've got situations with relationships, possibly, financial situations. Maybe you're going through something that's life-changing for you that you've never been through before. I mean, sometimes those situations don't seem easy. And every day, all day long, we have choices about what we're going to think about. All around us, we're given opportunities to decide if we're going to turn our heart to God or we're going to turn our heart to what the devil wants to tell us and what the devil wants us to think. You know, God knows all these things. Everything's happening throughout the whole world in life, and He's right here to help us. I mean, He's right here. He's very well aware. And He has made a way for us. He has given us keys. In Jeremiah 29:11, verse 11 through 12, says, "For I know the thoughts and plans that I have for you, says the Lord, plans for peace and well-being and not for disaster, to give you a future and a hope. Then you will call on me, and you will come and pray to me, and I will hear your voice, and I will listen to you." That's a promise from God, and He does that. I mean, we've seen that in our own lives. You know, years ago, when our son was very little, Chris and I were going through some financial situations we'd never walked through before. I really wasn't doing that well with it. But God really used Chris to speak to my heart and to really help me walk in a new place to understand. He spoke to my heart and said, there'll be a day, I mean, God warned us, there'll be a day where no matter how much money we have in the bank, we will not be able to buy a jug of milk for our son. And God really took me through all those places in His Word where He is, He had His people go through things to teach us. He knew there was going to be a day, thousands of years, that in my life, I needed to hear that. And it was going to change my life. In Exodus, God talks about delivering the Israelites from Egypt. When He delivered the Israelites from Egypt, they were sent out with silver, gold, clothing the Egyptians gave them so they would go out. Then they're in the wilderness for those 40 years, and all that worldly wealth provided them nothing. But God gave them manna to eat every day, fresh manna from heaven and water from the rock. That's all they needed. And the Bible even tells us that for all those 40 years, their shoes never wore out of their feet. Even their shoes didn't wear out. I mean, that's how big our God is, and that's how much God cares, and that's what God can do. Isaiah 55, 8 through 9 says, "For my thoughts are not your thoughts, neither are your ways my ways, says the Lord." So when we submit our heart and we recognize that God knows everything, and God has a hold of everything, and we are but a vapor, we can trust Him. He does have our lives in His hand. In 1 Kings 17, really the whole chapter talks about miracles that God performed through the prophet Elijah. God tells about, he warned Elijah drought was coming, and he instructed Elijah to go to the brook for water, and that God was going to send ravens for food. And that's exactly what God did. It's just an example of, I may not can think, well, God, how are you going to do this? How are you going to help? A situation comes. But if I'll spend my heart and just think on the things that God has me to think and know, God, you have a hold of this. I trust you. I don't know how you're going to do it, and I don't have to know how. I just know you love me, and I want to serve you, and I want to walk with you, and you're going to take care of me.
Yes, that's exactly right. And God has taken care of us. Hadn't he? 25 plus wonderful years of the miracles of God, the provision of God. And so we've seen many trials, but through each of them, God has provided for us and been our hope and our rock, our firm foundation, hasn't he?
Yes, he has.
And I want to give you a couple keys, a couple scriptures. We're going to start in Colossians this morning with setting your mind and your heart on Jesus. So that's one thing God has taught us, and especially in times when things are going wrong all around us, where can we anchor our hearts and have that hope in Jesus Christ? So if you've got your Bibles or maybe a notepad, you can look up the scriptures later at another time. We're going to start in Colossians 3, verse 2. It says, set your mind and keep focused habitually on the things above, the heavenly things, not on the things of the earth, which have only temporal value. So that speaks volumes to us right now. Right now, we're going to keep our hearts and our minds set on the things above. So many examples around our daily lives, whether you're going to the gas station and that gas pump says almost $4 a gallon now, when you're going to the grocery store and maybe what you need is not there, where we're going to set our minds and our hearts on that provision that God promised us. And that gives us a hope. But it's a habitual, constant, daily fellowship. That daily fellowship is what's going to anchor our hearts, keeping the Word of God in our hearts, and keep us strong through these perilous times. I want to give you an example. Just here recently, we had a situation where I switched out our washer and dryer at home. A little couple hour project turned into a week project as water was pouring through the wall. And we got that fixed, and then ended up our new washer hose had a hole in it. And so we got the new hose ordered. Well, a little supply chain issue along the way. So a week later, we finally got our hose as laundry's backing up. And, it's a simple matter, but where are we going to keep our hearts and our minds turned on Jesus? Where is our focus? Is it going to be, the water in the wall, or is it going to be, the laundry that's building up, or the situation there? No. We're going to keep our hearts and our mind on Jesus. When we do that, when we have that habitual fellowship, God can speak to us. And when he speaks to us, he gives us the right direction to go. He showed me right where to go to order the drain hose that had the hole in it, and to get it fixed. And now we have a beautiful new washer and dryer. But think about your bills. When you go to do your bills, and this month the gas bill's 3 times as much. Or even situations maybe at work. I know we both have several examples and works with the public. I'm an intensive care nurse and see lots of tragic and sometimes hopeless situations. But where are we going to remain stable and keep our minds and hearts set on Jesus so that we can be the hope and the light to the world that he's called us to be? Another example, a year ago, I lost my father to the COVID. And one thing that God gave me were these scriptures, some of them that we're sharing with you. We actually live these scriptures every day, keeping our mind and our heart in a devastating situation turned to Jesus. And so let's also look in Colossians, same chapter, chapter 3, verse 15. Let the peace of Christ, the inner calm of one who walks daily with him, be the controlling factor in your minds and hearts. Again, that speaks volumes to us. Keeping our mind and heart on Jesus, it's going to bring peace. And it does. We can testify to that. Deciding and settling questions that arise. So every day, no matter what pops up on your phone with a news headline, the headlines, what people say, the doubt and unbelief that's in the world, those unsettling news reports, we're going to have Jesus to turn to. To this peace, indeed, you were called as members in one body of believers. It's a promise God's given us as believers in Jesus Christ. He's given us that peace. And be thankful to God always. Let it permeate. I'm going to just go through, permeate every aspect of your being. So as an example, when I wake up in the morning, you wake up with a song in your heart. You wake up with a scripture in your heart. When you get to that gas station, you have the promise of God. He's going to provide. He gave me the job I have to drive to Charlotte. He's going to provide the tank of gas to get there. He gave me a family and a beautiful son and a beautiful wife, and he's going to give me the means by which to provide food on the table for them. Or like she said in the scripture, whether it be through ravens or through whatever means. And I can't think of I can think of countless times, even when I was in school, when people brought food, brought meals. You know, when I wasn't working full time, when we went through that financial hardship and I had gotten sick, God provided at every point. People showing up on our doorstep with bags of groceries. I mean, countless times God has seen us through. And again, it says, no matter whatever you do, no matter what it is, in word or in deed, do everything in the name of the Lord Jesus and in dependence on him, giving thanks to God the Father through him. So again, up in the morning with a song in our heart, at night, I lay in my bed and I just give thanks to God for the beautiful home, the wonderful things God's blessed us with, and the peace in our heart when we lay our head on that pillow. I didn't always have that peace. Many years ago, even before we got married in college, that peace wasn't there. But when I got a relationship with Jesus Christ, we can have peace in our hearts, and because we keep our minds stayed on him. Let me go to Psalms 40 in verse 6. It says, sacrifice and offerings you do not desire, nor have you delight in them. You have given me the capacity to hear and obey. And that's what I wanted to point out. God has given us the voice, his voice. And so in any circumstance, we can turn to him. His voice is there and it provides that peace. In Hebrews 12:2, I love this. It says, looking away from all that will distract to Jesus. There's lots that will distract us out there in today's times. And it says, Jesus, who is the leader and the source of our faith, giving the first incentive for our belief and is also its finisher, bringing it to maturity and perfection. We're a work in progress, aren't we? Yes. And so every day we're learning. And the next day we build upon that learning and we go on and God teaches us something new. He builds more and more faith in our hearts. He, for the joy of obtaining the prize that is set before him, endured the cross, despising and ignoring the shame, and is now seated at the right hand of the throne of God, so that we can have that peace. Jesus went to the cross so that we can have this peace, and we can have that provision under any circumstance in the hope in Jesus.
That's right. Now in Deuteronomy 30, verse 19 and 20, God says, I call heaven and earth as witnesses against you today, that I have set before you life and death, the blessing and the curse. Therefore, you shall choose life, in order that you may live and your descendants, by loving the Lord your God, by obeying his voice, and by holding closely to him, for he is your life, your good life, your abundant life, your fulfillment, and the length of your days, that you may live in the land which the Lord swore to give to your fathers, to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob. And that's one of the biggest keys. That's everything comes down to, it's your choice. God says, I give you life and death before you every day. All day long we have opportunities to choose life or death. Be it a big situation or seemingly big or seemingly small, all day long, God gives us the choice to choose life. And because he commands us to choose life, he will make a way for you to be able to choose life. It is your choice. It's your will. He's given us our will. And he says, if you will choose the path I have for you, choose to follow me, choose to obey my voice, submit your heart, hear my voice, I have good plans for you. I have good things and an abundant life for you. In Joshua 24, verse 14 and 15, it says, now therefore, fear the Lord and serve him in sincerity and in truth. Remove the gods which your fathers served on the other side of the Euphrates River and in Egypt, and serve the Lord. If it is unacceptable in your sight to serve the Lord, Choose for yourselves this day whom you will serve, whether the gods which your fathers served that were on the other side of the river, or the gods of the Amorites in whose land you live. But for me and my house, we will serve the Lord. Now that is what Chris and I have decided. My family has made that decision. And like I said, every day it's a decision you make with every circumstance that comes before you. And as you do that, like Chris was saying, that's how you build your faith. That's how you come closer to Jesus. That's how you can hear his voice, even when circumstances and times, everything wants to rattle around you so that you don't hear his voice. But you know it, and you can stay in peace, and you can choose to stay in the peace of God with every decision, every situation that comes up. And you can choose life. You can choose his way. And that's the fear of our Lord in our hearts. And we're so grateful. God made that way for us out of his mercy. And we are so grateful. And that's what we're going to do. We, with our will, are going to choose life.
That's right. And we are going to serve the Lord. Our family, we're going to serve the Lord with all our hearts. And we're going to seek him out every day. One thing it says in Psalms 119, verse 11, it says, your word have I laid up in my heart. And as we're going through these scriptures, I mean, we are so blessed. And God brought us here all the way from Oklahoma and brought us to the Word of Faith Fellowship. And we are so blessed every day. As we were pulling through scriptures, I was looking through scriptures, I mean, pulling out notebook after notebook after notebook after notebook of the treasure that God has given us. And those are the things that anchor our hearts. Those are the things when circumstances get rough, or when the economy changes and the wars are going on and the rumors of wars and the mandates and whatever you want to say in these perilous times come, our heart is anchored because we have the word of the Lord in our hearts. So I've got some more scriptures I want to share with you, more promises from God. Let's start in Joshua 1:9. It says, have I not commanded you? Be strong, vigorous, and very courageous. Be not afraid, neither be dismayed, for the Lord your God is with you wherever you go. And have we not seen that? When you are in the will of God, God is with you. He's with you with a grace and a provision and an ability to do what you need to do. God gives the ability for Ann to do her job. God gives me the grace and the ability to be with families as their loved ones are dying, or maybe with families when they're rejoicing in a victory in a health situation. God gives us that grace. He gives us that peace and that hope. And we're the light of the world to share with others. In 1 Peter 1, verse 13. So prepare your minds for action. Be completely sober in spirit, steadfast, self-disciplined, spiritually and morally alert. Fix your hope completely on the grace of God that is coming to you when Jesus Christ is revealed. Again, that grace and ability in every circumstance that God enables us to do our jobs. The devil wants to distract us. And so, just as it says here, we need to be spiritually and morally alert. We need to be sober in spirit, steadfast, and self-disciplined. So what is God saying to us there? He's saying he needs us to be self-disciplined. He needs to be restrained. We need to be inquiring of him every single day. And that's what God does for us every day. He's there for us as we inquire. We've got that word laid in our heart, whether it be the voice of the Lord coming to us, whether it be a song in the circumstance, we keep our hearts and mind focused on Jesus. In 1 Thessalonians chapter 5, verse 6. So let us not sleep in spiritual indifference, as the rest of the world does, but let us keep wide awake. So we see that spiritual indifference today, that dullness over society, lack of, I guess it's complacency, lack of caring, people walking around with the fog, I don't even know how to explain it. And you come to them with the love and the Word of God, and how it just changes their whole circumstance, no matter what it is. And again, as we're the light of the world, and have that hope of Jesus in us, it's important that we're hearing the voice of God, and we're there listening to Jesus, his direction, and so that no matter where we are, whether we're in the grocery store or at work, we can be that hope, and we can speak to someone in their time of need. So again, as the rest of the world does, but let us keep awake, alert, and cautious. Again, that devil wants to distract us. He wants to discourage us. And how many times during the day that devil could come and discourage us? And let us be sober, self-controlled, calm, and wise. And God gives us that wisdom through His Word. I think you had an example about,
Excuse me.
What was I thinking about the situation with your computers at work?
Oh.
Did you want to share that?
Several years ago at my work, we had an opportunity for us to let go of Jesus. We had a computer system, a situation, and basically lost our records in the computer at the time. And it was everything we needed to function. And when it happened, that gave us a very significant opportunity to either take hold of Jesus or not. And I'm grateful for where God has taught us what to do. Sent the word out, please pray. We have a very serious situation. And God really walked us through, and He's restored, and He's taught us. And that's just what God will do for you when you will submit your heart and choose Jesus and not choose the devil. Situations with computers are some of those things where if you're like me, you really aren't that familiar with them, and things happen, and you don't know what to do, and you don't know why it's happening, and you can't figure it out. But God taught me years ago, that's the computer, and I'm the operator. And I choose not to lose my salvation by giving to sin, frustration, anger, but I'm going to settle down and recognize, God, I need you to help me when I have situations with my computer, things aren't going like they're supposed to go or they normally go. Jesus, help me. And the first thing to do is to settle down and really, in your heart, take hold of Jesus. Just settle down in the peace of God. In Philippians chapter 4, verse 6 through 8, it says, do not be anxious or worried about anything. That's right. But in everything, every circumstance and situation, by prayer and petition with thanksgiving, continue to make your specific requests known to God. And the peace of God, that peace which reassures the heart, that peace which transcends all understanding, that peace which stands guard over your hearts and your minds in Christ Jesus is yours. Finally, believers, whatever is true, whatever is honorable and worthy of respect, whatever is right and confirmed by God's word, whatever is pure and wholesome, whatever is lovely and brings peace, whatever is admirable and of good repute, if there is any excellence, if there is anything worthy of praise, think continually on these things. Center your mind on them and implant them in your heart. So that's what we're going to do. We're not going to fret, be anxious or worried. God says, come to me by prayer and petition. Ask God. Let Him know your needs with thanksgiving. That's one thing that Chris had said earlier. When you go to that gas pump and that gas is over $4 a gallon, it's not what we're used to. Are you going to choose death and say, God, what am I going to do? How are we going to do this? I can't believe this is happening. The grumbling, the complaining. Are we going to choose life? Thank you, God, that you gave me a way to get to work, a way to get to do what you need me to do. I know you'll provide. Help me, Jesus. Show me, Jesus. You know the things I need to do. You know I need to get there. Thank you, Jesus. That's where your heart, out of that place of gratitude and praise, it's where you can hear God speak, and He will take care of you. Yes, and a key there in verse 8, it says, whatever is lovely and brings peace. Back to Colossians that we started out in, it's letting that peace be the controlling factor in your heart. If you don't have peace, you need to stop and inquire of God, where did I cut you off? What direction do I need to go in? If it doesn't bring peace, then you don't need to be thinking about it. That's exactly you don't right. need to set your mind and heart on it. You need to set your mind on the heart of things that bring you peace in your heart. And it's a simple stopping, inquiring of God, and letting Him speak to you. This is a direction I need you to go in. Countless times when I'm headed to work, the traffic's tremendous. Do I go this direction, that direction? Where's my peace at?
Or if I'm going to the grocery store, which grocery store, Jesus, do I need to go to? In these times, it's important you hear the voice of God where you go and the time that you go, that he'll keep you safe.
And he will speak to you. There may be situations where you have a decision to make and you completely don't know what to do. You just settle down in your heart, Jesus, what do you have for me? What do I need to do in this situation? And in the meantime, let your thoughts stay on Jesus until he speaks to you. Jesus, what's my song? What do you have for me? What's going to help me walk in that peace? And when he speaks to you and you have the peace, you'll know that's the word from him, and he's going to walk you through it. Now, Psalms chapter 37, verse 3 says, trust, rely on, and have confidence in the Lord, and do good. Dwell in the land and feed securely on his faithfulness. Delight yourself in the Lord, and he will give you the desires and petitions of your heart. Commit your way to the Lord. Trust in him also, and he will do it. He will make your righteousness, your pursuit of right standing with God, like the light, and your judgment like the shining of the noonday sun. Be still before the Lord. Wait patiently for him and entrust yourself to him. Do not fret, whine, or agonize because of him who prospers in his way, because of the man who carries out wicked schemes. Cease from anger and abandon wrath. Do not fret. It only leads to evil. For those who are evil will be cut off, but those who wait for the Lord, they will inherit the land. For yet a little while, and the wicked will be gone forever. Though you look carefully where he used to be, he will not be found. And in John 14, God says, peace I leave with you, my own peace. Peace I now give and bequeath to you. Not as the world gives do I give to you. Do not let your hearts be troubled, neither let them be afraid. Stop allowing yourselves to be agitated and disturbed, and do not permit yourselves to be fearful and intimidated and cowardly and unsettled. So that's our choice. We're not going to permit ourselves to be agitated, disturbed, fearful, or intimidated. We're going to stop allowing that in our hearts. We're going to choose life.
That's right. It is a choice. In every moment, we're going to turn our hearts to God. He has some more promises for us quickly as we're closing in Matthew 28, verse 20. It's at the end of the message there. He says, teaching them to observe everything that he's commanded you. So everything God's given us, every scripture God and instruction God's given us, we're going to do. And it says, I am with you always. That's a promise God gives us. Remaining with you perpetually, regardless of your circumstances. God is with us. And on every occasion it says, even to the end of the age. In Isaiah 26, verse 3, you will keep him in perfect peace, the one whose mind is steadfast, that is committed and focused on you, in both inclination and character. Like I said, this is our lifestyle. Every day we're keeping our mind and our heart setting on Jesus. And it brings us that peace because he trusts and takes refuge in you with hope and confident expectation. And what's our hope and confident expectation? The return of our Lord Jesus Christ. He wants us to live with him now, preparing us, that work in progress, so that we can live with him throughout eternity. Psalms 94, starting in verse 12. Blessed with wisdom and prosperity is the man whom you discipline and instruct, O Lord, and whom you teach from your law, that you may grant him the power to calm himself and find peace in the days of adversity. And that's exactly what we were sharing with you this morning. And then it goes on, until the pit is dug for the wicked and the ungodly, for the Lord will not abandon his people. And he has proven that in our lives, and I can guarantee you he'll show it to you every day as you turn to him, get the word of God in your heart, and find that peace that he promised us. So we just want to thank you for joining us this morning. The time has gone fast. We're so grateful to be here, so grateful to share our heart and these scriptures. I hope that they'll encourage you and help you. You can always go back